You guys, we are going to be looking at a classic piece of satire. If you ever go to a class and they're talking about satire, they'll probably bring this thing up. It's called a modest proposal. So here's our lovely picture of an orange bird. Thank my daughter for asking for me to draw that one. And modest proposal is like your classic satire. So first, in order for us to understand a modest proposal, because it's a it's an argument about eating the babies. And you go, what? That's insane. But remember, this is satire. And satire is when you mock or ridicule a thing and by pointing out the flaws in it by exaggerating them. And that way, it's like a caricature. If you've ever seen a caricature of a picture, and they draw that thing, and it takes your the parts of your face and kind of overdoes them. Like my head would be really bald, my beard would be out here, and I'd have absolutely no eyebrows. Those are the types of things that you would see in a caricature of me. So this is back in 1729, and in 1729, here's Great Britain, here's Ireland. And Ireland is starving. And Great Britain has money. And Great Britain is controls Ireland. They're starving, there's a potato famine, there's also lots and lots and lots of poverty. And so you've got all of these ladies who are super skinny and unhappy, and like here's a box of food, and it's just full of, we look inside the box of food and it's just full of like nothing. Like, I don't know, we'll throw in a bug. Oh, it's full of its cockroaches. No food. And then they have babies. We've got other babies, and there's lots of babies in Ireland, and the babies are like also sad. I'm hungry. Well, at the same time, you've got these dudes in fancy hats, and I don't know, I'm going to give one of them a monocle. And they're in England, and they're all fat, and they have money. And here they go. He's just like, there's some money. Boom, 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 money. I don't know, another rich guy thing. Let's give him like a proper jacket. And in this hand, he's just got like, I don't know, a diamond. So the obvious solution to this, because all of these people are like, oh man, we've got to do something to help the Irish. How about we give them some money and food? Says a lot of people, including Jonathan Swift. And they go, no, we can't possibly do that. We have to somehow fix their society, make them so they don't have, we can't do that. We can't just go with the easy solution. And so Jonathan Swift, because the easy solution, the thing that he's trying to point out is that, yes, there's an issue there. And we can solve it really, really easily by just sharing and by sharing. And we can save the babies. Whereas they're arguing, well, we need to teach them to have some sort of other trade or other thing that's out there, when in reality the problem is just there's a famine going on, they need help. And so he writes a modest proposal, and a modest proposal suggests that we eat the babies. Now, he doesn't really want them to eat the babies. What he's trying to do is he's trying to get the people to go, oh, he's mocking this idea that we have to come up with this solution, this thing in there that there's not an easy solution. Yes, there's an easy solution. Be a human and help people by pointing out the flaws in their arguments. By expanding this, there's no real solution, or the other solutions, because they came up with lots of other ones. So he's taking their solutions and he's just coming up with the most insane one. It's like my idea to, this stupid thing that I want to write, my idea to fix public transportation by writing the homeless. You just put I'm writing up a thing, you put on a harness on the homeless person, and then you jab him in the legs with spurs, and it gives them a job, and you get to go to places, and you can find them everywhere, and it's perfect. Is it actually perfect? No, you're not going to ride the homeless. That's a mean and horrible thing to do. But instead of like making public transit easier for people to access, no, let's just ride the homeless. Same idea. Except instead of just like giving them food, let's have them eat the babies. So, for preventing the children of poor people in Ireland from being burdened on their parent or country, and for making them beneficial to the public. So, this is a way to make the babies, all the babies that are dying in Ireland, to make them useful, and also so they don't suffer anymore. It is a melancholy object to those who walk through this great town and travel in the country when they see the streets, the roads, and cabin doors crowded with beggars of the female sex, followed by 3, 4, or 6 children, all in rags and in pontooning every passenger for an alms. These mothers, instead of being able to work for their honest livelihoods, are forced to employ all their time in strolling to beg sustenance for their helpless infants who, as they grow up, either turn thieves for want of work, or leave their dear native country to fight for the pretender in Spain, and sell themselves to the Barbados. Basically, it's saying, I see, it's so sad. Look out, it's so sad. You see all these ladies, and they can't do anything because they have all these babies they have to take care of, and the babies are growing up, and since they grow up in such crappy situations, they become thieves, they go work for Spain, or they sell themselves into slavery. We gotta fix that. That does seem like a problem. And that's true. That is a problem. We should probably fix that somehow. I don't know. Maybe we could help them. So here's how we help them. I think it is agreed by all parties that the prodigious number of children in the arms or on the backs or at the heels of their mothers and frequently of their fathers is in the present deplorable state of the kingdom a very great grievance, and therefore whoever could find a fair, cheap, and easy method to make these children sound and useful members of the Commonwealth would deserve so well of the public as to have a statue set up for a preserver of the nation. So he's saying, oh, it's such a big problem that if we can just figure out how to make these children useful, this is like the greatest thing. Someone should make a statue of me for proposing this. But my intention is very far from being confined to provide only for the children and for professional beggars. No, I'm going to help everybody. Listen how freaking great this is. It is of a much greater extent and shall take in the whole number of infants at a certain age who are born of parents in effect as little able to support them as those who demand our charity in the streets. I'm going to help every kid. We're going to save the babies from this horrible future. And we're going to save Ireland. We're going to save everybody. It's the greatest plan you've ever seen. As to my own part, having turned my thoughts for many years upon this important subject, maturely weighed the several schemes of our projectors, I have always found them grossly mistaken in their computation. It is true, a child just dropped from its dam, a baby that has just been born, may be supported by her milk for a solar year. So we can feed a baby for a year by milk with little other nourishment, or at most not above the value of 2 shillings, which the mother may certainly get, or the value of scrap. So it's really cheap to feed the babies at first, so that's not a big deal. By her lawful occupation of begging, and it is exactly 1 year old that I propose to provide for them in such a manner as, instead of being a charge upon their parents or the parish, or wanting food and raiment for the rest of their lives, they shall, on the contrary, contribute to the feeding and partly to the clothing of many thousands. So, at 1 year old, they're going to be productive. There is, where they're going to help feed everybody, and they're going to help clothe everybody. Now, if you haven't listened to the rest of this, you don't know, you might not know where this is going. If you have, you all went, oh my gosh. There is, likewise, another great advantage to my scheme, that it will prevent those voluntary abortions and that horrid practice of women murdering their bastard children. Alas, too frequent among us, sacrificing the poor, innocent babies. I doubt more to avoid the experience than the shame which would move tears and pity to the most savage and inhumane breast. The number of souls, this will stop the abortions. He's saving all sorts of everyone. This sounds like a great idea. So that's one thing about satire that is wonderful. If satire on its face often doesn't look like satire when it's really, really good. And a lot of times the person who's being made fun of will have no idea they are being made fun of. But the other people out there will see it. And that's the hope, that other people see these things and see the extremes. It's like this. Stephen Colbert is a satirist, and when he was on the Colbert Report, now his whole shtick on that thing was like he was a uber conservative right wing Fox News type host guy. He was basing his persona off of like a Rush Limbaugh or something like that. But that's not who he is. He's much more left leaning, and his whole thing on that was to make fun of that person, make fun of the the political pundits. That was the whole thing. But sometimes people didn't know that. And one time he got invited to a dinner, I think a correspondence dinner for the Republican National Party, if I remember correctly. Now, either they did this because they have a sense of humor, or they did not realize that he was a satirist. In fact, I'd watch this all the time, and people would not realize that he was making fun of them. And he goes on there, and he makes fun of them, and everybody was surprised. But that's his job, that's his thing, that's what he does. If Jonathan Swift were to go onto a place, a bunch of governors who he's making fun of right now, he would do this thing and he would make fun of them. And they would probably be surprised because they'd be like, wait, I thought you were on your side. You wanted to save all the babies by eating them. We have this great idea. But other people are going to notice how insane this is, and the hope is that those people can push things through. So anyway, yeah. The number in the souls of the kingdom being usually reckoned 1.5 million. Of these I calculate there are about 200,000 couple whose wives are breeders, from which I shall subtract 30,000 couple, which are to be maintained their own children. So we're not going to get all the babies. We got to keep the human race going. Although I apprehend there cannot be so many under the present distress of the kingdom, but this being granted, there will remain 170,000 breeders. I again subtract 50,000 for these women who miscarry or whose children die by accident or disease within the year. There only remain 120,000 children of poor parents annually born, so 120,000 babies. The question, therefore, is how this number shall be reared and provided for. How are we going to do this? Which, as I've already said, under the present situation of affairs, is utterly impossible by all the methods hitherto proposed, for we can neither employ them in handicraft or agriculture. They neither build houses, they're babies. Babies are useless. In the country, nor cultivate land. They can very seldom pick up a livelihood by stealing till they arrive at least 6 years old. They're not even good thieves till they're 6, dang babies, except where they are towardly parts, although I confess they learn the rudiments much earlier, during which time they can, however, by properly looked upon only as probationers, as I have been informed by a principal gentleman in the country of Cavan, who protested to me that he never knew above 1 or 2 instances under the age of 6, even in part of the kingdom so renowned for the quickest proficiency in the art. They can't even learn how to steal until 6. There's 5 years where they're completely just burdens on society. Those babies, those children, they're such burdens. I am assured by our merchants that a boy or a girl before 12 years old is no sellable commodity. We can't even sell them. Who wants a baby? That's useless. And even when they come up to this age, they will not yield above 3 pounds or 3 pounds. That's money, not how much they weigh. And a half a crown at most, which is not much, on the exchange, which cannot turn either the parents or kingdom, the exchange of nutrients and rags having been at least 4 times that value. So you can't, if you wait till they're 5, you can't even make 12, you can't even make any money off the kids. I shall now therefore humbly propose my own thoughts, which I hope will not be liable to the least objection. Why would anybody object to this really great idea I'm going to do right now? I have assured by a very knowing American in my acquaintance in London that a young, healthy child, well nursed, is at a year old a most delicious. I find it funny that an American knows what babies eat and salad tastes like. Most delicious, nourishing, and wholesome food, whether stewed, roasted, baked, or boiled. And I make no doubt that it will equally serve as a fricassee or ragouste. That would be in a sauce. I do therefore humbly offer to a public consideration that of the 120,000 children already computed, 20,000 may be reserved for breed, whereof only 1/4 part to the male be males, which is more than we allowed for sheep, or black cattle, or swine, and my reason is that these children are seldom the fruits of marriage, a circumstance not so much regarded by our savages. Therefore, one male will be sufficient to serve 4 females. I mean, come on, we're just going to breed them so we can eat them. That the remaining 400,000 may, at a year old, be offered and sell to the persons of quality and fortune through the kingdom. We're going to sell the babies to the rich people so the rich people have a delicacy, and they'll pay top dollar. Always advising the mother to let them suck plentifully in the last month so as to render them plump and fat for a good table. A child will make 2 dishes at an entertainment for friends, and when the family dines alone, the fore or hind quarter will make a reasonable dish, and seasoned with a little pepper or salt, will all be very good boiled on the 4th day, especially in winter. I have reckoned upon a medium that a child just born will weigh 12 pounds. That's a really freaking big baby, by the way. And in a solid year, if tolerably nursed, increase to 28 pounds. I'm assuming that's right. So he's done math. I grant this food will be somewhat dear, and therefore very proper for landlords who, as they have already devoured most of the parents, seem to have the best title to the children. Infant flesh will be in season throughout the year, but more plentiful in March, and a little before and after, for we are told by a grave author and eminent French physician that fish being a prolific diet, there are more children born in Roman Catholic countries about 9 months after Lent than at any other season. Therefore, reckoning a year after Lent, the markets will be glutted than usual, because the number of popish infants is at least 3 to 1 in the kingdom, and therefore it will have one other collateral advantage by lessening the number of papists among us. So that right there was a religion joke. So another thing that's going on, one of the reasons that they're not being nice, is that England is ruled by the Church of England, and Ireland is Catholic. And so this is a dig at the people who are saying, well, we can't help them, they're Catholic. He's saying, oh, well, we can even get rid of some of the Catholics this way. He's mocking these horrible, horrible, horrible people in all of this. All right, so I'm not going to read this entire thing because there's quite a bit more. You can read it if you want. But you kind of get the idea. He's using an exaggeration. Of course, we're not going to actually eat the babies. That's insane. So instead of talking about, hey, let's eat the babies, it has all this logical sense to it, why don't we just stop being jerks and help them? Stop acting like this is a hard problem to solve. It's not a hard problem to solve. Go help the people. If you really cared, you could do this. This is essentially the same argument that you're having. You're refusing to help them for these various reasons. According to your morality, this works. Do you object to this? Of course you do. So why don't you just go help the people? And that's the point he's trying to get on this. So let's go to that assignment that I had for you. So you have this assignment. Here's how I would do this for this. I would, number 1, pick this, go to the thing, to here. I would get rid of this lovely picture of the babies. And I would get my picture of my face out of the way. My picture of my face does not want to move. There we go. All right, name a piece of satire. You don't get to do a modest proposal. I already did it. A modest proposal. Yours have to be ones you find. 2, linked a piece of satire. So I had it this one. I would call this copy. Boom. Paste it. Boom. Thing I did, person being satirized. The nobles in England who refuse to help the Irish who are starving, and the ideas, suggestions they are proposing. Now, I could go in and I could find some of the actual suggestions that they had. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. What are they exaggerating? The way, what are they exaggerating, or I should put, how are they exaggerating this? By saying we should eat the babies. And money plus population control plus delicacy for the rich. And what are the point they're trying to make? The point he's trying to make here is this is not that hard. Help them with the power you have, instead of coming up with useless proposals. Or you can say your morality is akin to the eating of babies. Either one of those things would work. And that's all I'm doing. What I want you to do is, one, find a piece of satire. You're going to find a print version for this one, not a modest proposal, print version. You're going to give me a link to it. You'll find it up here. There's a ton of satire out there. Search for classic piece of satire and you'll find one. Or search for written piece of satire and you'll find one. Look on The Onion. There's a ton of stuff on The Onion. Then tell me what they're making fun of, because we're always taking this thing, we're making fun of it. And then how are they exaggerating this? What's the method by which they are exaggerating it? So I'm going to measure this. I'm going to put slash the method. For this one, it was a logical reason why we should eat the babies. And what point are they trying to make? He's trying to make the point that, of course, this is unethical and horrible and whatnot. So you two this is easy, just go help them. Instead of coming up with all your modest proposals that are equally ridiculous, just help the people. Yeah, you can read the rest of the thing. I'd love to do that. There's a couple video versions of this on YouTube. Some of them are good, some of them are not, but you can check them out. If you have any questions about this, Google Meet and or emails as per usual. Have fun. I'm sorry that I had to read you that incredibly disturbing story. I don't think we should eat babies. Alright. I'll see you later. Bye.